Hello students, I am Dr. Krupa Rasne, professor from Jain College of Engineering, Belgavi. So now let us continue with the third module, and this is the second video, revision video of network and cybersecurity. We'll be referring to the same textbook, William Stallings, Cryptography and Network and Security Practices. So coming to what we have been seeing as of now, we have looked into IP security overview. We have also seen IP security policy. And in this video, we'll be looking into encapsulating security payload and combining security associations. In the further video, we'll look into these two topics. Now coming to encapsulating security payload ESP. In this, the subtopics are ESP format, encryption and authentication algorithms, padding, anti-replay service, transport and tunnel. Encapsulating security payload, that is ESP. It can be used to provide confidentiality, data origin authentication, connectionless integrity, and anti-replay service and traffic flow confidentiality. The set of services provided depends on the option selected at the time of SA, that is Security Association, establishment, and on the location of the implementation of a network topology. ESP can work with a variety of encryption and authentication algorithms, including authenticated encryption algorithms such as GSM. Now let us look at ESP packet format. So you see that this is payload. Okay, we'll come to this security parameter index, or it is SPI. This is a 32 bits and it identifies a SA or a security association. Next is the sequence number, which is again 32 bits, and it monotonically increases counter value. This provides an anti-replay function as discussed in AH. Next is the payload. We'll come to this later. This is the payload. The payload data, which is variable, this is the transport level segment in transport mode or IP packet during the tunnel mode, that is protected by encryption. Next, let us look at this padding. This also we'll see later. Padding is 0 to 255 bytes. The purpose of this field is discussed later. Pad length, this is 8 bits and it indicates the number of pad bytes immediately preceding this field. Next is the next header, 8 bits, identifies the type of data contained in the payload and data field by identifying the first header in that payload. Example, an extension header in IPv6 or an upper layer protocol such as TCP. Next is the integrator check value. This is also variable. It's a variable length field, must be an integer number of 32-bit words that contains the integrity check value computed over the ESP packet minus the authentication data field. So this is the substructure of payload data, and what I told you was the basic structure of ESP. When I say substructure, I will be including these two fields which I didn't explain as of now. Note that the payload is from here to here. The ICV coverage will be from this point to this, and encrypted will be from this point to this point. Now in the substructure payload, as I said, two additional fields may be present in the payload as seen in this figure B. Now an initial value initial value, that is IV or nonce, is present if this is required by the encryption or authentication encryption algorithm used for ESP. So this in the basic structure it is not there, but it will be present if it is required. Next, if in tunnel mode is being used, then the IPsec implementation may add this TFC, that is traffic flow confidentiality, that is this above the padding, after the payload data and before the padding field, as explained subsequently. So this is the explanation of ESP packet format, both the basic as well as the substructure. And authentication algorithms. The payload The payload data, padding, pad length, and next header fields are encrypted by the ESP services. If the algorithm used to encrypt the payload requires cryptographic synchronization data such as IV, then these data may be explicitly carried at the beginning of the payload data field. If included, an IV is usually not encrypted, although it is often referred to as being a part of the cybertext. Now, continuing, the ICV field is optional. We have told this earlier. It is present only if the integrity service is selected and is provided by either a separate integrity algorithm or a combined mode algorithm that uses ICV. The ICV is computed after the encryption is performed. It also allows for the possibility of parallel processing of the packets at the receiver, that is, and decryption can take place in parallel with integrity checking. Note that because the ICV is not protected by encryption, a keyed integrity algorithm must be employed to compute the ICV. So now let us look at the padding. The padding field serves several purposes. If an encryption algorithm requires the plain text to be a multiple of some number of bytes, the adding field is used to expand the plain text to the required length. I think most of us we have dealt with this in microcontrollers also. You want to convert an 8-bit to 16-bit, so the value is retained in the left hand side, and the right hand side 8 bits are filled with some paddings or zeros or ones. Okay, so next is the ESP format requires that the pad length and the next header fields be right aligned within the 32-bit word. Additional paddings may be added to provide partial traffic flow confidentiality by concealing the actual length of the page. Now coming to anti-replay services. When a new essay is established, the sender initializes a sequence number counter to 0. Each time that a packet is sent to this essay, the sender increments the counter and places the value in the sequence number field. We have seen all these fields earlier. Thus, the first value to be used is 1. If anti-replay is enabled, the default, the sender must not allow the sequence number to cycle past 2 to the power of 32 minus 1 back to 0. This is obvious. Otherwise, there would be a multiple valid packets with the same sequence number. If the limit of 2 to the power of 32 minus 1 is reached, the sender should terminate this essay and negotiate a new essay with a new key. This is anti-replay service that we are going to look at. So anti-replay mechanism. So before we go further, see we have to look at this is a fixed window size W, and these are the different packets that are inbound and they need to be processed. So what happens is this window has it has n packets inside it. So this will be n minus W and this will be the n plus 1. As these packets are being verified, it will be marked if it is a valid packet, and it will be unmarked if the packet is received is valid packet is not yet received. So what happens is the window advance if valid packet to the right is received. So this is anti-replay mechanism. So if the received packet falls within the window and is new, the MAC is checked. If the packet is authorized, the corresponding slot in the window is marked. If the received packet is to the right of the window and is new, the MAC is checked again. If the packet is authenticated, the window advanced so that this sequence number is the right edge of the window and corresponding slot in the window is marked. If the received packet to the left of the window or if authentication fails, the packet is discarded. This is auditable event. So this is anti-replay mechanism. So now encapsulating security payloads, that is ESP, what summary we have done as of now is we have seen the ESP format, we have seen the encryption and authentication algorithms, we have also seen the padding, and we have seen the anti-replay services just now. And now we'll be looking into the transport and tunnel mode. So let us look at the transport and tunnel modes. So here, this figure shows here the two ways in which an IP ESP services can be used. In the upper part of the figure, the encryption and optionally authentication is provided directly between the two hosts. And here we see that how a tunnel mode operation can be used to set up a virtual private network. In this example, an organization has say 4 private networks which are interconnected over the internet. Hosts on the internal networks, okay, use the internet for transport of data but do not interact with other internet based hosts. By terminating the tunnel at the security gateway to each internal network, the configuration allows the host to avoid implementing the security capability. The former technique is supported by transport mode SA, while the latter techniques are supported using tunnel mode SA. So now let us look at the scope of ESP encryption and authentication in the transport mode with respect to IPv4 and IPv6, and these we will check even for the transport mode. So this is IPv4. We have got the TCP here, data here, and we have the IP header here. This being an IPv6, it will also have an IP header, TCP data along with the extension headers if they are present. So this is the status of IPv4 and IPv6 before applying the ESP encryption and authentication. Now for IPv4, if I have to apply the extension, sorry, encryption, so let us see how it can happen. For this mode, using IPv4, the ESP header is inserted into the IP packet immediately prior to the transport layer header. Example, this TCP, UDP, all that. Okay, and the next header fields and is placed after the IP packet. If authentication, so we have got this trailer also which is placed after the data. This trailer means padding, pad length, and next header fields, all that is included. And if we are having authentication, then we will be including this ESP authentication data field which will be added after the ESP trailer. Now the entire transport level segmentation plus the ESP trailer, you know, it can be encrypted, and the entire authentication covers all the ciphertext plus the ESP header. So this is how IPv4 will be encrypted and authenticated or in the transport mode. Now coming to your IPv6. In the context of this IPv6, ESP is viewed as an end-to-end payload. That is, it is not examined or processed by intermediate routers. Therefore, ESP header, okay, appears after the IPv6 base header and the hop by hop routing and fragment extension headers. The destination option extension header could appear before or after the ESP header depending on the semantics desired. For IPv6, encryption will cover the entire transport level segment plus the ESP trailer plus the destination option if it is after the ESP header. Again, authentication will cover the ciphertext plus the ESP header. So this is how in transport mode ESP encryption and authentication is done for IPv4 and IPv6. Now, let us look at the scope of ESP encryption and authentication in tunnel mode. Now, if you see, this is IPv4 and IPv6, the same that we have seen for transport mode. But here we see that this ESP header is basically not before the TCP, but it is encapsulating the original IP packet. So before original IP header it is come, and it may also be preceded with a new IP header. And encryption, if you see, occurs from this point, that is the whole data, and it includes the ESP trailer which is there. Authorization, if it is required, even this will be included after the ESP trailer. And authentication occurs from this ESP header to this ESP trailer. Now coming to IPv6, same thing. New IP header and extension headers will be added or preceded before the ESP header, and this is the original header, extension header, TCP. This is your typical IPv6, and ESP header will come after these two headers. And here we have the ESP trailer and the authorization of this. So tunnel mode ESP is used to encrypt an entire IP packet for this mode, and ESP header has to be prefixed to the packet, and then the packet plus the ESP trailer is encrypted. This method can be used to counter traffic analysis. Because the IP header contains the destination address and possibly the source round directives and hop by hop option information, right? It is not possible simply to transmit the encrypted IP packet prefixed by the ESP header, and intermediate routers would not be able to process such a packet. Therefore, it is necessary to encapsulate the entire ESP header plus the cybertext plus authentication data, if present, with a new IP header that will contain sufficient information for routing but not for traffic analysis. Hence, encryption occurs only between the external host and the security gateway, or between the two security gateways. This relieves hosts to the internal network of the processing burdens of encryption and simplifies the key distribution task by reducing the number. Hence, this is the encryption, ESP encryption and authentication in the tunnel mode for you. The architecture for transport and tunnel mode is similarly explained here. If you see, we have the application TCP, IP and IPsec. So the application is nothing but the data. When it comes to this TCP, the header of TCP header will be added. When it comes to IP, this IP header will be added along with the TCP header. Now, if we implement IPsec, we are going to have this ESP header that is going to be included before the TCP header. This is for the transport mode. Now, when you come to the tunnel mode, same thing, data TCP header will be precede the data, and then we will have this IP header included in the IP layer. When it comes to IPsec and we want to implement it, then ESP header will be added before the IP header here, and the next IP layer will introduce the new IP header to this tunnel mode. So trailers and authorization will be of course added in the right hand side. So this is the basic architecture for transport and tunnel mode. So we have seen IP security overview earlier, IP security policy in my first video, and we have now seen the encapsulating security payload, where we have seen the transport and tunnel mode in ESP. Now we'll be looking at the combining security associations in this particular video and internet key exchange and the cryptographic suites we will be seeing in the further video. So coming to IP security, combining IP security, transport adjacency, iterated tunneling, authentication plus confidentiality, ESP with authentication option in this transport mode, ESP, transport mode ESP, tunnel mode ESP, and transport adjacent and transport tunnel bundle, and will end with the basic combination of security associations if time permits. Now coming to combination security association. An individual SA can implement either the AH or ESP protocol, but not both. Sometimes A particular traffic flow will call for the services provided by both AH and ESP. Further, a particular traffic flow may require IP services between hosts, and for that same flow, separate services between security gateway such as firewalls is required. In all of these cases, multiple essays must be employed for the same traffic flow to achieve the desired IPsec services. The term Security Association Bundle refers to a sequence of essays through which traffic must be processed to provide a desired set of IPsec services. The essays in a bundle may terminate at different endpoints or at the same endpoint. Now, security associations may be combined into bundles in two ways. The transport adjacency. This refers to the applying more than one security protocol to the same IP packet without invoking tunneling. This approach to combining AH and ESP allows for only one level of combination. Further nesting yields no added benefits since the processing is performed at one IPsec instance, that is the ultimate destination. Iterated tunneling. So I said there are two ways. One is transport adjacency and the other is iterated tunneling. This refers to the application of multiple layers of security protocols affected through IP tunneling. This approach allows for multiple levels of nesting since each tunnel can originate or terminate at different IP site along the path. So these are the two differences between transport and adjacence and iterated tunneling. This will be multi-layer, this will be at single layer where both AH and ESP combination is applied. The two approaches can be combined, for example, by having a transport essay between the host travel part of the way through a tunnel essay between security gateways. One interesting issue that arises when considering essay bundles is the order in which authentication and encryption may be applied between a given pair of endpoints and the way of doing so. Then we look at combinations of essays that involve at least one. So we have been looking at IP security in combination security association. We have just seen the transport adjacency, iterated tunneling, and now we'll be looking at authentication plus confidentiality. In this, we'll be looking at these subtopics. And lastly, basic combination of security association. So transport adjacency. Another way to apply authentication after encryption is to use two bundled transport essays with the inner being an ESP essay and the outer being an AH essay. In this case, ESP is used without authentication option because the inner essay is a transport essay, encryption is applied to the IP payload. The resulting packet consists of an IP header and possibly IPv6 header extension followed by an transport adjacency. AH is applied in transport mode so that authentication covers the ESP plus the original IP header and extensions except for mutable fields. The advantage of this approach over simply using a single ESP essay with the ESP authentication option is that authentication covers more fields, including the source and destination IP addresses. The disadvantage is the overhead, obviously, of the two SAs versus one SA. Transport tunnel bundle. The use of authentication prior to encryption might be preferable for several reasons. First, because the authentication data are protected by encryption, it is impossible for anyone to intercept the message and alter the authentication data without detection. Hence, it's more secure. Second, it may be desired to store the authentication information with the message at the destination for later reference. And it is more convenient to do this if the authentication information applies to the encrypted message. Otherwise, the message would have to be re-encrypted to verify the authentication information. So this is the transport and tunnel bundle. One approach also again to applying authentication before encryption between the two hosts is to use a bundle consisting of an inner AH transport essay and an outer ESP tunnel essay. In this case, authentication is applied to the IP payload plus the IP header, and extension excepts for mutable fields. The resulting IP packet is then processed in tunnel mode by ESP. The result is that the entire authenticated inner packet is encrypted and a new outer IP header and extension is. So we have looked into the encapsulating security payload and also the combining security associations, and this will continue in the next video. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you and feel
Feel free
free
to
to
ask
ask
any
any question.
questions.